Hello, it's Natasha, and this video is going to be, I'm going to talk about my up-to-date worst experience with dealing with Louis Vuitton, the brand. So if you're new to my videos and my channel, I usually do, and I share my experiences, my reviews, opinions, and they're all my honest opinions. I'm not going to hold anything back, regardless of how I have acquired these experiences, as well as the items or services doesn't have any relevance in regards to my personal experience, and it's never going to be biased. With this video, I want to share my worst experience with Louis Vuitton. So this was last year. I initially purchased the Sienna PM, and that was through their website. When it arrived, I found out that after checking and trying the bag to see if it would be a perfect fit for my personal preference and my lifestyle, I decided it wasn't for me. So within that hour of receiving it, I contacted Louis Vuitton client services, which I also refer to as LVCS. And I told them I wanted to return that. Now, here's a tip. If you order items via website of Louis Vuitton, if you don't like it and you're in the window of like I believe it's a 7-day window that you can decide to keep it or not, and you can get a full refund, or it was 14 days that you can exchange it, something like that. And then there's a 30-day return policy for, I believe, credit. So I immediately contacted LVCS and I told them, I want to return the bag. So they gave me a free or complimentary shipping return label, which, arrived within the hour. I printed it out. I used everything that they sent with it. And so I returned that. I dropped it off at UPS. So what happens is when it arrived, even if it's, next day, whenever it will be, because, you're not the only person that could be returning or sending items to their particular destination. It can take a few days to 2 weeks. When that happens, I believe they send you like an email and they let you know they received it, and it can take a little bit of time for you to get your credit. So that's what happened with me. After when I was waiting for my money back and, with the process of it, after the minute I was done shipping it back, I came home and I was looking for something to replace it with. So I decided to go with the Turan PM, and that was pretty fast and easy. When I got the funds back, I purchased the Turan PM, and I also got a Sarah wallet, and it was in monogram. When it arrived, both items smelled like vomit. It was just disgusting. It was rancid. Aside from the smell, it was perfect. The stitching was perfect. It was the alignment was perfect. Everything was perfect except for the smell. And I kind of thought maybe it's gonna go away. So I kind of let it sit in my living room, and hopefully that would just kind of go away. Like maybe after half an hour or an hour. I mean, and I didn't want to spray anything on it, because if it's not going to go away in half an hour or get better, I'm not going to keep it. So, about 20 minutes, half an hour, I went to smell it again. It was still the same intensity. Nothing has changed. So I just decided to call LVCS and tell them I wanted to exchange it with the same bag. So I called them and I told them everything, and they were really nice. Now, here's another tip. When you are returning something, there's a defect, you have to make sure you are going to tell them everything. I would advise you to inspect every single spot of the item, because if you don't, and within transit, let's just say something happens, they could possibly say that you did that, and they might, just say you did a damage to the bag, we can't do this, we can't do that. There could be a lot of things that they might deny you with. So if you want it to be the easiest possible and the shortest possible amount of time with inspection and having to do that, because if there's a little bit of something that you didn't disclose, they might do a further investigation on it. And you're going to understand why I'm very, very insistent on that later on in my story. So I return it. This takes a little bit longer than the Sienna PM. I actually don't remember if I placed the order again or if they just did an exchange. I forgot about that part. What I do remember is, let's just say I did, they gave me the funds again, and then I repurchased it again. Let's just say I went that route, because I don't remember if they just automatically exchanged it. I don't remember that part. So I apologize for that. So I got the new batch of my Sarah wallet and my True NPM. The expected date, I was waiting for the UPS truck. And I was excited. So I kept refreshing my, the UPS tracking page. I kept refreshing. And I kind of knew the time frames. It's the UPS at the time where I was living, it changes. Sometimes they can deliver in the morning, sometimes it's early in the afternoon, sometimes it's later in the day, and the tracking information always says estimated delivery on this date up until the end of business day. It always just says that. So it's there. The schedule for the UPS truck in my route was just very unpredictable, aside from the date. So I waited all day I waited, and I kept refreshing it. I did see the UPS truck go by. I see it outside of my window. I wait for the UPS truck to ring my doorbell. That never happened. The UPS truck just left. And so I went to my door, and there was no sticky note whatsoever. I then refreshed my tracking page. And usually if that does happen, it automatically says that they left a notice, and they're going to try again for the next business day. That never happened. So I thought that, I thought that I could probably go outside, and I could still track the UPS truck, and maybe it's still nearby and I could get it. That didn't really happen. It just kind of disappeared. And I did look around outside the door. There was no sticky note at all. So I called UPS the next morning. Yeah, I called them the next morning because I refreshed it. I still refreshed it. And the UPS truck kind of stopped by around 5 or almost 6 o'clock at night. So I was still refreshing it at 8 p.m., at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and it still says by end of day. So I kind of thought maybe there's a second truck coming around. That never happened. And it became 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or something like that. And it never refreshed to say, okay, we put a sticky note, something like that. So I called the very next day and spoke with someone there and told them what happened. And I said, I don't know what's going on. Maybe you can see it in your system, but on my end, it still says this. And it hasn't refreshed, and it kind of refreshed after I spoke with them. It just says that that it was unknown, or there was an issue. It didn't say that it was going to be delivered the very next business day, and I've never seen that before. So I spoke with UPS at that time, And they said, we're going to do a doc search. Don't worry about that. And I'm going to call you back right away. So about 2.5 hours later, the manager of the hub near me, she was amazing. She contacted every single driver for her hub. She contacted the nearer UPS stores. Maybe it could have been misplaced there. It could have been misdelivered, whatever, anything, nothing. It just completely disappeared out of thin air. So she told me right away. She said, she said, call the sender and let them know right away, and they should be able to overnight this for you. So that's what I did. And she also said, file something for us, and it's best to do it online so you have it on record. File it something on our end, just so we can also start making sure you get the insurance. The sender can get the insurance, and they could ship it back right away, and it would be beneficial for me. So I did all of that, and then because I thought, to me, this is the first time this ever happened, and so I thought it's the carrier's fault, and obviously someone had someone dropped the ball, and they're gonna give all the information to Louis Vuitton. And I believe later that day I spoke to her again. She called me and she said, I already sent all the information, don't worry about that. Louis Vuitton should know that this was our mistake, you did nothing wrong, this never was delivered, and it's obvious in our system, and it's obvious that there was actually no person that could actually vouch that they did a delivery to anybody. So I contact Louis Vuitton because that's what she said too. She said just to make sure they're also aware that you're aware and all that stuff, just to cover all my bases. So I contacted Louis Vuitton, and they initially said, okay, we're very sorry about that. Let's see if we can do something about this. And I believe they were just saying, give me for the next day or 2 business days or 2 days or something like that. And I should have more information for you. So they never called. I called whatever day they said that they were going to call, and they missed it. And I probably called later that day or the next day after that. This was in the beginning part. So I called and I said, this is what happened. And I wrote down all the names, including the people from UPS. I think it was just the manager. So I told them, the manager told me this, everything is fine. They already sent you the report and all that stuff. At some point, I spoke to the manager our supervisor, who was going to handle my case. I forgot his name. And initially, he was just, telling me, okay, we do our internal investigation, and this can take up 2 weeks. And I said, why do you need your own internal investigation when you don't own UPS? And UPS already personally did a doc search for you. And he told me, this is just what we do. We do our own personal investigation. We send someone over from our end who will do that. Everything that they did, we do that. And I said, you've already been given the insurance money. What's the problem? And he said that was just protocol for them. So they would always tell me that it would be 2 days, every 2 days. In the first 2 weeks, maybe, I would call them the day after the 2 days is up. I gave them a little bit of time. Every time I would get the same answer. At a certain point, I told them, it's already been 2 weeks. You said this should have been done 2 weeks. And then they changed the story. And this supervisor told me, well, it's 2 business weeks. So that means it's actually 3 weeks. I think he just wanted to buy time. And so he was just saying, so, we're still not there on the deadline. I said, okay, so you really did. Why didn't you just tell me that? And he said, I thought I did, I didn't know that I didn't say that. Okay. So I kept tabs after that happened, when he told me it's actually 2 business weeks and they don't count weekends. So that really means 3 weeks. After that, I called them almost every day. So every 2 days or every day. And I would just ask if there's an update. At a certain point, I got so frustrated because this was in June or July. And I did, and it was ongoing in August. It started in June, okay? It started with a Sienna, but I did get the funds within 1 week. And then the other one, so it was within 1 month that I did get this order that got lost. Okay, so this was still in May. So by the time that they were telling me it was already end of June, that they were still saying they can't find it, or the supervisor didn't want to take my call. At a certain point, he was very rude. He yelled at me, told me to stop talking, told me to shut up, told me that I needed to stop calling, and told just completely disgustingly rude. So at that point, I tweeted them, and I tweeted Louis Vuitton a few times. I was really, really frustrated. I was very angry because every time they would tell me, oh, I promise I'm going to call you back in 2 days. They never did. I have to call them back the very next day after the 2 days. And, you know, when I got impatient, this is going on 3 weeks. That's when I started calling them every 2 days. So I got really frustrated. After 3 weeks, they still said, we're still doing the investigation. You're just going to have to wait. You're just going to have to stop calling, stop bothering us, and all this stuff. So I got really mad, and I tweeted, and I tagged Louis Vuitton and Louis Vuitton services, and they just told me all the information, send us a direct message in regards to all the info. So I gave them all the info that I've experienced, you know, and they're like, you know, give us a little bit of time. We're gonna see what's going on. Excuse me. I think I also contacted them on Facebook. The Louis Vuitton Facebook page is pretty much useless if you're in the US, because that's what they told me. They said, oh, we can't do that because you're in the US, blah, 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 blah. What's the point? Why do you have a Facebook page if you're not going to help people that need you? So I just, you know, I would go on Twitter I think I did it every day, because they wouldn't call me back. They wouldn't respond to my tweet. You know, there was just so many things that they just kept dropping the ball on my end. I mean, I bought 2 items that then they totaled over $2,000 plus tax. So anyone that, even if I was spending $50 or $100 and I still didn't get my money or my merchandise, I would still be very upset. But you also have to consider that this is this is actually a bigger amount than $100 or $50, that it can be a red flag. Even, like I said, even if it was $50 and it's taking like over a month for your money to come back, it's ridiculous. And I even asked them, I'm like, I want my stuff. I just want my stuff. You know, I don't want a refund. Just give me my stuff back. At some point, this supervisor even informed me, we are not going to send you any more merchandise. We're just not going to send you anything anymore, because that's our policy. Once a package has been lost, going to that specific address, you're not going to get anything from us ever again. And I'm thinking, how am I supposed to order anything else? Maybe you have a friend in the area. He was just disgustingly horrible. I don't understand why he was even a supervisor. So basically, in order for me to purchase more Louis Vuitton items, I was supposedly going to have to move. First off, I wasn't UPS and I didn't lose the package, but I was to suffer and to be blamed for that. So I gave all that info to the Twitter account for Louis Vuitton services, and at a certain point, because I just, you know, I shared my disappointment, and I think I did that on the Twitter page, not on a direct message, that they were very rude and they did this, they did this, they did this, that my final phone call, because I still remember this. I was in a parking lot somewhere, and I just parked my car because I usually just keep my phone. I never answer any calls. So I just parked my car. I was getting my stuff, and I still remember having my bag at the time. I don't remember what it was. I had it in my lap. I'm on my way to go out of my car, and it started ringing. So I pick up my phone, and I answered it, and it was the same supervisor, and he was it was like super, super nice at this time already. He was super, super nice. And he said that they have closed the investigation, and they were gonna give me the refund, and it's going to take up to 2 weeks for me to get my money. So I did ask him, I'm like, so you just won't send it? He said, for this kind of situation, it's just kind of hard for us to just ship it back to the same address. And I was just so tired and frustrated and just completely spent that I was just like, all right, I'll just take the refund. Because that happened to me, I was pretty disgusted. When I got the money, I took the cash out, and I got someone else in my life to purchase everything for me. That was the worst experience in my life with Louis Vuitton, and I believe I got the money back either late August or early September, and that was when I purchased the Sarah wallet in monogram and the Turin PM. I don't want to disclose who did that for me, but they did, and it was the worst experience I've ever had, and I really, really hope that no one else has that experience. If I didn't include it, when I did speak with Louis Vuitton, I believe a week after UPS told me, this has happened, they scolded me and said, you shouldn't have filed a report with UPS. You should have just directly contacted us. And I said, they're the courier. I wanted to make sure that they had it, and I saved my day. I didn't go anywhere, and I waited for my package, and it got lost in the way for whatever reason. And I wanted to make sure that, I was here, and I waited, and I gave them all the info, and they just said, yeah, that was your fault. So that was really the worst experience, because I think two people at Louis Vuitton really made me feel like me trying to get my package, and me trying to help them, and me trying to go over and beyond to speed up or expedite my order to arrive because someone dropped the ball was supposedly my fault. I think those people need to be retrained, or I don't know, retrained something. It was really, really disgusting, and I really hope that never happens again. And FYI, the supervisor that I was keeping in contact with the whole time, when he gave me the news that I was going to get my money back and the case was over, it was a completely different person. He was even nicer than the first time I spoke with him. Because even the first time I spoke with him, he was slightly snooty. But the last conversation I had with him, he was super nice. He even asked me multiple times, is there anything else I can help you with? So since, I have you on the phone, he never asked me that in all of the previous conversations. He was very, very short with me. He was very rude. He was very arrogant and snooty about it. So that was my worst experience with Louis Vuitton, and probably luxury brands and luxury stores. That was the worst experience I've ever had in my entire life. I was so frustrated at the time. It made me hate the brand temporarily, because I was so mistreated for about a little over 2 months. Yes, it was that long to get my money. It was that long to get information if I'm going to be approved or not to get my refund, because I think I was also told, we're not sure if we're going to give you the refund yet, or I can't promise you we're going to give you a refund. And I'm thinking, my item is lost, I don't have it. How can I not get a refund on something that I never had? I paid for it, so you guys are stealing my money. And I remember I did say that, well, if you're contemplating on giving me my money back or my merchandise, then this would be called fraud and theft. And he didn't like my reaction, and I remember he got angrier because of that. But you also, I mean, you have to think, how is that even right for you to take my money? I never got my merchandise that I paid for, and I paid for up front, and it's been it's been 2 months, and within that time frame, you have brought up to the fact that you say things like, maybe you're not even going to get your money back. You know, it was just a like quicksand of bad news. Every time they would contact me or I contact them just to touch base if there's any kind of update or anything, I either got snapped on, I got hung up on, I got yelled at, I was told to not call again, to not bother them, to just wait. I probably won't get another order approved to be shipped to my home, that I had to move so that I could order more of this stuff, or I probably won't get my money back. What kind of a service is that? Ever since then, I have had better service, but I haven't really come across those two people that I did for this particular situation. It did take me months before I wanted to even look at the Louis Vuitton website, think about Louis Vuitton. And if I really didn't get my Turin PM and my Sarah, which someone else had to get it for me, and I still wanted to see, you know, if it was in great condition or not, or if I had to have the issue of having to return it, then I don't know. I think I would have probably wanted to literally rip my hair off, because, you know, my previous experience of having to deal with them with customer service or client services wasn't even good. It wasn't even okay. It was just completely like a nightmare. So I just wanted to share it out there. And I mean, I do feel a little bit kind of guilty on the fact that I did blame it on the brand. But here's what you also have to think. These people you employ that are front-facing people that answer phone calls or possibly be in the store and speak with clients directly, they represent your brand. And if you don't know how to train these people, then maybe you need to do a better job in doing that, because it does reflect on your brand as well, that maybe you don't care about your clients' feelings and their money. So if there's anyone out there that ever had a horrible experience with Louis Vuitton, and I do have other horrible experiences, but this was the worst. If you want to share it with me and put it in the comment below, oh my gosh, I would really, really love that. I hope I hope this can help anybody out there, and probably, you know, just do not give up at all. Even if it's going to take so many weeks and a few months, don't give up. And that's what I did. I was so persistent. I never gave up, and I was just on them. It didn't matter that it hurt my feelings. It didn't matter that I was being yelled at and was being mistreated. That didn't really crush my spirit. I still fought back. I always fought back, and I managed to get my money back. I still wanted my stuff back, but they just said, we're not gonna, you know, send you anything anymore. It was kind of like you're forever rejected. So, I hope this can help anybody out there, and just sharing that if you've had anything similar to this, or any kind of bad experience with any kind of company, it doesn't matter if it's luxury, Louis Vuitton, or anyone else. I've also had that experience, and it was pretty bad. And so I will understand completely if you're in the same spot. Completely. Mine was so horrible. I hope you liked my video, despite that my experience was so horrible. And again, if you have similar experience or just even like a bad experience with a company, always feel free to reach out to different people or different companies in the company. I mean, different departments in the company, I'm sorry. Because this will give them awareness on certain people or certain departments within the company itself that they were not aware of, that maybe they can improve for the next person. I hope you did get a lot of information with this video, and I hope that this could help you if you are in this situation or you might be in this situation. Just don't give up is my biggest advice. Do not give up. If you're going to be frustrated and stressed that very day, just, take a little bit of a breather, take your mind off of the situation, and then try to fight back again when you have kind of breathed in, breathe out, and kind of relax and not so angry, and your brain isn't so clouded with the anger and the frustration and the stress. Just make sure it is your right still, that's your money and that's your merchandise, and you shouldn't be treated so horribly when you didn't do anything wrong. If you love this video, and hopefully you did enjoy watching it, even though my experience, was on the negative side, I hope you subscribe to my channel in that red horizontal bar down there. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope I was as informative as I could have been. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.